We're going to finish up 19 today. And again, we're talking about viruses. So, how did virus come about? Okay. They don't fit our definition of a living organism because they're not alive unless they're inside of a cell. So, if they can only replicate when they're within a cell, how did they get those? They're probably evolved from like little tiny bits of nucleic acids. Like I said, they can be RNA or DNA. So, somehow they got little pieces and form these little viral genomes, their own little, like I said, DNA, nucleic acid. So, and a lot of times their DNA is either plasmid, which is a circular thing, or transponsons, they're called. Okay. Um, they're all mobile genetic elements. So somehow along the line, these little pieces of DNA or RNA grew into or developed into a virus. The largest virus yet discovered is the size of a small bacterium. It encodes for proteins that are involved in translation. So again, it makes its own proteins. It helps with DNA repair. It helps proteins fold. And then it also polysaccharides, that would be like carbohydrate synthesis. So not all viruses are bad, you guys. This one, the largest virus they know, helps with some of the things that our cells already do. Okay. Sometimes there's a controversy whether it's a virus or not, and did it evolve? There's been some, did it evolve before cells or after cells? Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. But, there's all kinds of ideas of where viruses came from. We know what they do. And again, when a new disease pops up, now there's going to be all kinds of work about it. Like I said, with the coronavirus, they did lots of work on the HIV. In the 50s, there was a lot with the polio virus, So we have these viral infections. They affect humans. They affect crops, livestock. There's all kinds of things that can be affected. Sometimes they're less complex entities. Okay. They can cause disease in plants and animals. They have viroids and pyroids. So you even have things smaller than viruses. Crazy, right? But again, they all work under the same premise. They have to get inside of a whole cell and do their work. Okay. Okay. Some of the viral diseases in animals. A virus can damage or kill cells. And because it does that, it causes the release of hydrolytic enzymes from the lysosomes. Remember, the lysosomes are those little packets of digestive enzymes that clean up stuff in the cell. Well, if they cause the lysosomes to release all their enzymes at one time, it's going to kill the cell. Okay, so the viruses can infect cells and make them produce toxins. And then again, that can lead to symptoms. It can actually kill whatever the organism that it's inside. So if they have molecular components in that envelope that surrounded them, that can be toxic to the animals as well. So if you're making new of them and you make more of that envelope, you're going to produce more toxins in the animal. Okay, there are vaccines. You guys have all had vaccines. A vaccine, it takes that pathogenic microbe and it basically kills it, or it makes it really weak, and then it gives it to you, and then your body makes antibodies to fight it. Okay, so that's why sometimes when you get a vaccination, you're you don't feel great, but I mean, you're not sick. Your body's building up defenses against that pathogen. Okay. And vaccines are for viral illnesses. Okay, you get a vaccine for polio, you get a vaccine for German measles, mumps, rubella. I guess rubella is German measles. So you get these, and the nice thing about those viruses, they don't change. So once you get the vaccine, you're good. We've had viruses against hepatitis. We have viruses against meningitis. I mean, there's all kinds of vaccines that we can get now. Okay, viral infections cannot be treated with antibiotics because antibiotics are for bacterial infections. Okay, if it's a virus, so if you're sick and you go to the hospital and you have a virus and they give you antibiotics, you're just wasting your time because the antibiotics aren't going to do anything for you. Antibiotics are to fight bacterial infections, not viral infections. Honestly, they have antiviral drugs, not a lot of them, but they do have some. They can help treat so that you feel better, and then basically your body can take over and get rid of the virus. So they don't cure them. Okay, so there is some antiviral drugs, but most of the time when you have a virus, you just got to let nature take its course and let nature get you better. Okay. Emerging viruses. Now, this book is a couple years old, so it doesn't even have anything about the coronavirus. So we know that there's some serious emerging viruses out there, and suddenly they become apparent. Here's one in 2009. We had the H1N1, if you guys remember that. It originally started out as a swine flu, and then they changed the name of it. There was an outbreak of it. They had flu-like illnesses. It started in Mexico, moved up to the United States, and again, it was caused by an influenza virus, H1N1. Most people didn't get too sick, but some people died from it. It depends again how your body handles it. Okay, we always have flu epidemics usually in the wintertime, and again, it's not because the viruses are more prevalent there. It's just people are inside more. So we always are getting new strains of influenza virus, and unfortunately, people that are already have depressed immune systems, these are the people that affect the most. And now we have this lovely coronavirus, right? Okay. A viral disease can affect a small isolated population, or it can emerge and become global. And that's exactly what happened to us. It started out in a small population in China and boom, it was everywhere. Okay. So new viral diseases can emerge when viruses spread from animals to humans. The H1N1, again, it started out as called the swine flu. The hantavirus, the one from the mouses, from mice, that it started, that was, again, spread from mice and then into humans. Okay, so we have viral strains sometimes that can jump from species to species, and they exchange that genetic information, and then we don't have immunity to them because we haven't been around them. And then comes the research and trying to find an answer and trying to find the vaccine and, building up our immunity to it. So there are strains that can cause pandemics, and some people a few years ago would probably say, whatever. Well, we know it's true now, don't we? We have a global epidemic, a global pandemic because of the coronavirus. Or COVID, I guess you can call it either, right? 2009, again, the flu pandemic, that went from humans to pigs. They called it the swine flu. Later on, they changed it to H1N1. I don't know, maybe they didn't want people to know you had the swine flu, whatever. But that was the actual virus that caused it, H1N1. Plant viruses can spread as well, and they can be just as devastating because if you destroy a crop, no food. There's horizontal transmission where they enter through it. The plant has damaged cell walls. They'll get in that way. This happens a lot like to trees. If you look around golf courses, a lot of the trees have diseases there, but you think about all the golf balls hitting the trees and nicking the bark and damaging the cell walls. There's also vertical where they inherit the virus from a parent. So it can be transmitted through damaged cell walls from one plant to the other, or it can be inherited from the parent. Okay, so that's viruses in a nutshell, pretty quick. But again, I didn't want to skip it because we've talked about we got a virus situation going on, so I figured we would cover that. So that is chapter 19.